can't ban assault weapons as we should. We must at least raise the age to be able to purchase one to 21.
For the first time in 28 years, US Senate passed a gun violence bill. This historic move comes right after the US saw raging incidents of gun violence. The measure would toughen background checks for youngest gun buyers and keep firearms away from more domestic violence offenders. The bipartisan bill was easily approved by the Senate given the frequency of gun violence in the US. The measure would toughen background checks for the youngest gun buyers. $15 billion in federal funding for mental health programs and school security upgrades. And implement red flag laws to remove firearms from people considered a threat. People convicted of domestic abuse who are current or former romantic partners of the victim would be prohibited from acquiring firearms. For years, a robust gun control law was thwarted. Now, it's a significant
You are watching India Today.
And we're continuing with our non-stop relentless coverage of the unfolding drama between Mumbai and Guwahati. Endgame Udhav is being protracted with a huge number of political movements between Vadodara, Mumbai and Guwahati. And now the very latest is that Eknath Shinde, the rebel band leader of the Shiv Sena, who has been camping for the last days in Guwahati, has sought 7 days to respond to the summons. We'll come right back to that. Prime Minister Modi's Mann Ki Baat has just begun. Let's listen while the Prime Minister is
बहुत से संदेश मिले हैं। मैं इसके लिए आपका बहुत आभारी हूं। इस कार्यक्रम में हम सभी की कोशिश रहती है कि एक दूसरे के प्रेरणादायी प्रयासों की चर्चा करें, जन आंदोलन से परिवर्तन की गाथा पूरे देश को बताएं। इसी कड़ी में मैं आज आपसे देश के एक ऐसे जन आंदोलन की चर्चा करना चाहता हूं जिसका देश के हर नागरिक के जीवन में बहुत महत्व है। लेकिन उससे पहले मैं आज की पीढ़ी के नौजवानों से 24-25 साल के युवाओं से एक सवाल पूछना चाहता हूं और सवाल बहुत गंभीर है और मेरे सवाल पर जरूर सोचिए। क्या आपको पता है कि आपके माता पिता जब आपकी उम्र के थे तो एक बार उनसे जीवन का भी अधिकार छीन लिया गया था? आप सोच रहे होंगे कि ऐसा कैसे हो सकता है, ये तो असंभव है। लेकिन मेरे नौजवान साथियों, हमारे देश में एक बार ऐसा हुआ था। ये बरसों पहले 1975 की बात है। जून का वही समय था जब इमरजेंसी लगाई गई थी, आपातकाल लागू किया गया था। उसमें देश के नागरिकों से सारे अधिकार छीन लिए गए थे। उसमें से एक अधिकार संविधान के आर्टिकल 21 के तहत सभी भारतीयों को मिला, राइट टू लाइफ एंड पर्सनल लिबर्टी भी था। उस समय भारत के लोकतंत्र को कुचल देने का प्रयास किया गया था। देश की अदालतें, हर संवैधानिक संस्था, प्रेस, सब पर नियंत्रण लगा दिया गया था। सेंसरशिप की ये हालत थी कि बिना स्वीकृति कुछ भी छापा नहीं जा सकता था। मुझे याद है तब मशहूर गायक किशोर कुमार जी ने सरकार की वाहवाही करने से इनकार किया तो उन पर बैन लगा दिया गया, रेडियो पर से उनकी एंट्री ही हटा दी गई। लेकिन बहुत कोशिशों, हजारों भारत के लोगों का लोकतंत्र से विश्वास डिगा नहीं, रत्ती भर नहीं डिगा। भारत के हम लोगों में सदियों से जो लोकतंत्र के संस्कार चले आ रहे हैं, जो लोकतांत्रिक भावना हमारी रग रग में है, आखिरकार जीत उसी की हुई। भारत के लोगों ने लोकतांत्रिक तरीके से ही इमरजेंसी को हटाकर वापस लोकतंत्र की स्थापना की। तानाशाही की मानसिकता को, तानाशाही वृत्ति प्रवृत्ति को लोकतांत्रिक तरीके से पराजित करने का ऐसा उदाहरण पूरी दुनिया में मिलना मुश्किल है। इमरजेंसी के दौरान देशवासियों के संघर्ष का गवाह रहने का, साझेदार रहने का सौभाग्य मुझे भी मिला था, लोकतंत्र के एक सैनिक के रूप में। आज जब देश अपनी आजादी के 75 वर्ष का पर्व मना रहा है, अमृत महोत्सव मना रहा है, तो आपातकाल के उस भयावह दौर को भी हमें कभी भी भूलना नहीं चाहिए। आने वाली पीढ़ियों को भी भूलना नहीं चाहिए। अमृत महोत्सव सैकड़ों वर्षों की गुलामी से मुक्ति की विजय गाथा ही नहीं, बल्कि आजादी के बाद के 75 वर्षों की यात्रा भी समेटे हुए हैं। इतिहास के हर अहम पड़ाव से सीखते हुए ही हम आगे बढ़ते हैं। मेरे प्यारे देशवासियों, हम में से शायद ही कोई ऐसा हो जिसने अपने जीवन में आकाश से जुड़ी कल्पनाएं न की हो। बचपन में हर किसी को आकाश के चांद तारे, उनकी कहानियां आकर्षित करती हैं। युवाओं के लिए आकाश छूना सपनों को साकार करने का पर्याय होता है। आज हमारा भारत जब इतने सारे क्षेत्रों में सफलता का आकाश छू रहा है, तो आकाश या अंतरिक्ष इससे अछूता कैसे रह सकता है। बीते कुछ समय में हमारे देश में स्पेस सेक्टर से जुड़े कई बड़े काम हुए हैं। देश की इन्हीं उपलब्धियों में से एक है इन स्पेस नाम की एजेंसी का निर्माण। एक ऐसी एजेंसी जो स्पेस सेक्टर में भारत के प्राइवेट सेक्टर के लिए नए अवसरों को प्रमोट कर रही है। इस शुरुआत ने हमारे देश के युवाओं को विशेष रूप से आकर्षित किया है। मुझे बहुत से नौजवानों के इससे जुड़े संदेश भी मिले हैं। कुछ दिन पहले जब मैं इन स्पेस के हेडक्वार्टर के लोकार्पण के लिए गया था, तो मैंने कई युवा स्टार्टअप्स के आइडियाज और उत्साह को देखा। मैंने उनसे काफी देर तक बातचीत भी की। आप भी जब इनके बारे में जानेंगे तो हैरान हुए बिना नहीं रह पाएंगे। जैसे कि स्पेस स्टार्टअप्स की संख्या और स्पीड को ही ले लीजिए। आज से कुछ साल पहले तक हमारे देश में स्पेस सेक्टर में स्टार्टअप के बारे में कोई सोचता तक नहीं था। आज इनकी संख्या 100 से भी ज्यादा है। ये सभी स्टार्टअप्स ऐसे ऐसे आइडिया पर काम कर रहे हैं जिनके बारे में पहले या तो सोचा ही नहीं जाता था या फिर प्राइवेट सेक्टर के लिए असंभव माना जाता था। उदाहरण के लिए चेन्नई और हैदराबाद के 2 स्टार्टअप्स हैं, अग्निकुल और स्काई रूट। ये स्टार्टअप ऐसे लॉन्च व्हीकल विकसित कर रही हैं जो अंतरिक्ष में छोटे पेलोड्स लेकर जाएंगे। इससे स्पेस लॉन्चिंग की कीमत बहुत कम होने का अनुमान है। ऐसे ही हैदराबाद का एक और स्टार्टअप थ्रू स्पेस सैटेलाइट डिप्लॉयर और सैटेलाइट के लिए हाई टेक्नोलॉजी सोलर पैनल्स पर काम कर रहा है। मैं एक और स्पेस स्टार्टअप दिगंतरा के तनवीर अहमद से भी मिला था, जो स्पेस के कचरे को मैप करने का प्रयास कर रहे हैं। मैंने उन्हें एक चैलेंज भी दिया है कि वो ऐसी टेक्नोलॉजी पर काम करें जिससे स्पेस के कचरे का समाधान निकाला जा सके। दिगंतरा और ध्रुव स्पेस दोनों ही 30 जून को इसरो के लॉन्च व्हीकल से अपना पहला लॉन्च करने जा रहे हैं। इसी तरह बेंगलुरु के एक स्पेस स्टार्टअप एस्ट्रोम की फाउंडर नेहा भी एक कमाल के आइडिया पर काम कर रही है। ये स्टार्टअप ऐसे फ्लैट एंटीना बना रहा है जो न केवल छोटे होंगे बल्कि उनकी कॉस्ट भी काफी कम होगी। इस टेक्नोलॉजी की डिमांड पूरी दुनिया में हो सकती है। साथियों, इन स्पेस के कार्यक्रम में मैं महसाणा की स्कूल स्टूडेंट बेटी तन्वी पटेल से भी मिला था। वो एक बहुत ही छोटी सैटेलाइट पर काम कर रही है जो अगले कुछ महीनों में स्पेस में लॉन्च होने जा रही है। तन्वी ने मुझे गुजराती में बड़ी सरलता से अपने काम के बारे में बताया था। तन्वी की तरह ही देश के करीब 750 स्कूल स्टूडेंट्स अमृत महोत्सव में ऐसे ही 75 सैटेलाइट पर काम कर रहे हैं। और भी खुशी की बात है कि इनमें से ज्यादातर स्टूडेंट्स देश के छोटे शहरों से हैं। साथियों, ये वही युवा हैं जिनके मन में आज से कुछ साल पहले स्पेस सेक्टर की छवि किसी सीक्रेट मिशन जैसी होती थी, लेकिन देश ने स्पेस रिफॉर्म्स किए और वही युवा अब अपनी सैटेलाइट लॉन्च कर रहे हैं। जब देश का युवा आकाश छूने को तैयार है तो फिर हमारा देश कैसे पीछे रह सकता है। मेरे प्यारे देशवासियों, मन की बात में अब एक ऐसे विषय की बात जिसे सुनकर आपका मन प्रफुल्लित भी होगा और आपको प्रेरणा भी मिलेगी। बीते दिनों हमारे ओलंपिक गोल्ड मेडल विजेता नीरज चोपड़ा फिर से सुर्खियों में छाए रहे। ओलंपिक के बाद भी वो एक के बाद एक सफलता के नए नए कीर्तिमान स्थापित कर रहे हैं। फिनलैंड में नीरज ने पावो नुर्मी गेम्स में सिल्वर जीता। यही नहीं, उन्होंने अपने ही जेवलिन थ्रो के रिकॉर्ड को भी तोड़ दिया। कोर्टोन गेम्स में नीरज ने एक बार फिर गोल्ड जीतकर देश का गौरव बढ़ाया। ये गोल्ड उन्होंने ऐसे हालातों में जीता जब वहां का मौसम भी बहुत खराब था। यही हौसला आज के युवा की पहचान है। स्टार्टअप से लेकर स्पोर्ट्स वर्ल्ड तक भारत के युवा नए नए रिकॉर्ड बना रहे हैं। अभी हाल में ही आयोजित हुए खेलो इंडिया यूथ गेम्स में भी हमारे खिलाड़ियों ने कई रिकॉर्ड बनाए। आपको जानकर अच्छा लगेगा कि इन खेलों में कुल 12 रिकॉर्ड टूटे हैं। इतना ही नहीं, 11 रिकॉर्ड्स महिला खिलाड़ियों के नाम दर्ज हुए हैं। मणिपुर की एम मार्टिना देवी ने वेट लिफ्टिंग में 8 रिकॉर्ड्स बनाए हैं। इसी तरह संजना, सोनाक्षी और भावना ने भी अलग अलग रिकॉर्ड्स बनाए हैं। अपनी मेहनत से इन खिलाड़ियों ने बता दिया है कि आने वाले समय में अंतर्राष्ट्रीय खेलों में भारत की साख कितनी बढ़ने वाली है। मैं इन सभी खिलाड़ियों को बधाई भी देता हूं और भविष्य के लिए शुभकामनाएं भी देता हूं। साथियों, खेलो इंडिया यूथ गेम्स की एक और खास बात रही है। इस बार भी कई ऐसी प्रतिभाएं उभर कर सामने आई हैं जो बहुत साधारण परिवारों से हैं। इन खिलाड़ियों ने अपने जीवन में काफी संघर्ष किया और सफलता के इस मुकाम तक पहुंचे हैं। इनकी सफलता में इनके परिवार और माता पिता की भी बड़ी भूमिका है। 70 किलोमीटर साइकिलिंग में गोल्ड जीतने वाले श्रीनगर के आदिल अल्ताफ के पिता टेलरिंग का काम करते हैं, लेकिन उन्होंने अपने बेटे के सपनों को पूरा करने के लिए कोई कोर कसर नहीं छोड़ी। आज आदिल ने अपने पिता और पूरे जम्मू कश्मीर का सिर गर्व से ऊंचा किया है। वेट लिफ्टिंग में गोल्ड जीतने वाले चेन्नई के एल धनुष के पिता भी एक साधारण कारपेंटर है। सांगली की बेटी काजोल सरगार, उनके पिता चाय बेचने का काम करते हैं। काजोल अपने पिता के काम में हाथ भी बटाती थी और वेट लिफ्टिंग की प्रैक्टिस भी करती थी। उनकी और उनके परिवार की मेहनत रंग लाई और काजोल ने वेट लिफ्टिंग में खूब वाहवाही बटोरी है। ठीक इसी प्रकार का करिश्मा रोहतक की तनु ने भी किया है। तनु के पिता राजवीर सिंह रोहतक में एक स्कूल के बस ड्राइवर है। तनु ने कुश्ती में स्वर्ण पदक जीतकर अपना और अपने परिवार का, अपने पापा का सपना सच करके दिखाया है। साथियों, खेल जगत में अब भारतीय खिलाड़ियों का दबदबा तो बढ़ ही रहा है, साथ ही भारतीय खेलों की भी नई पहचान बन रही है। जैसे कि इस बार खेलो इंडिया यूथ गेम्स में ओलंपिक में शामिल होने वाली स्पर्धाओं के अलावा 5 स्वदेशी खेल भी शामिल हुए थे। ये 5 खेल है गतका, थांग ता, योगासन, कलरियापट्टू और मलखम। साथियों, भारत में एक ऐसे खेल का अंतर्राष्ट्रीय टूर्नामेंट होने जा रहा है जिस खेल का जन्म सदियों पहले हमारे ही देश में हुआ था, भारत में हुआ था। ये आयोजन है 28 जुलाई से शुरू हो रहे शतरंज ओलंपियाड का। इस बार शतरंज ओलंपियाड में 180 से भी ज्यादा देश हिस्सा ले रहे हैं। खेल और फिटनेस की हमारी आज की चर्चा एक और नाम के बिना पूरी नहीं हो सकती। ये नाम है तेलंगाना की माउंटेनियर पूर्णा मालावत का। पूर्णा ने 7 समिट्स चैलेंज को पूरा कर कामयाबी का एक और परचम लहराया है। 7 समिट्स चैलेंज यानी दुनिया की 7 सबसे कठिन और ऊंची पहाड़ियों पर चढ़ने की चुनौती। पूर्णा ने अपने बुलंद हौसलों के साथ नॉर्थ अमेरिका की सबसे ऊंची चोटी माउंट देनाली की चढ़ाई पूरी कर देश को गौरवान्वित किया है। पूर्णा भारत की वही बेटी हैं जिन्होंने महज 13 साल की उम्र में माउंट एवरेस्ट पर जीत हासिल करने का अद्भुत कारनामा कर दिखाया था। साथियों, जब बात खेलों की हो रही है तो मैं आज भारत की सर्वाधिक प्रतिभाशाली क्रिकेटरों में उनमें से एक मिताली राज की भी चर्चा करना चाहूंगा। उन्होंने इसी महीने क्रिकेट से संन्यास की घोषणा की है, जिसने कई खेल प्रेमियों को भावुक कर दिया है। मिताली महज एक साधारण खिलाड़ी नहीं रही है, बल्कि अनेक खिलाड़ियों के लिए प्रेरणा स्रोत भी रही है। मैं मिताली को उनके भविष्य के लिए ढेर सारी शुभकामनाएं देता हूं। मेरे प्यारे देशवासियों, हम मन की बात में वेस्ट टू वेल्थ से जुड़े सफल प्रयासों की चर्चा करते रहे हैं। ऐसा ही एक उदाहरण है मिजोरम की राजधानी आइजवाल का। आइजवाल में एक खूबसूरत नदी है चिटे लुई, जो बरसों की उपेक्षा के चलते गंदगी और कचरे के ढेर में बदल गई। पिछले कुछ वर्षों में इस नदी को बचाने के लिए प्रयास शुरू हुए हैं। इसके लिए स्थानीय एजेंसियां, स्वयंसेवी संस्थाएं और स्थानीय लोग मिलकर सेव चिटे लुई एक्शन प्लान भी चला रहे हैं। नदी की सफाई के इस अभियान ने वेस्ट से वेल्थ क्रिएशन का अवसर भी बना दिया है। दरअसल इस नदी में और इसके किनारों पर बहुत बड़ी मात्रा में प्लास्टिक और पॉलीथीन का कचरा भरा हुआ था। नदी को बचाने के लिए काम कर रही संस्था ने इसी पॉलीथीन से सड़क बनाने का फैसला लिया। यानी जो कचरा नदी से निकला उससे मिजोरम के एक गांव में राज्य की पहली प्लास्टिक रोड बनाई गई। यानी स्वच्छता भी और विकास भी। साथियों, ऐसा ही एक प्रयास पुडुचेरी के युवाओं ने भी अपनी स्वयंसेवी संस्थाओं के जरिए शुरू किया है। पुडुचेरी समंदर के किनारे बसा है। वहां के बीचेज और समुद्री खूबसूरती देखने बड़ी संख्या में लोग आते हैं। लेकिन पुडुचेरी के समंदर तट पर भी प्लास्टिक से होने वाली गंदगी बढ़ रही थी। इसलिए अपने समंदर बीचेस और इकोलॉजी को बचाने के लिए यहां लोगों ने रिसाइकलिंग फॉर लाइफ अभियान शुरू किया है। आज पुडुचेरी के कराईकल में हजारों किलो कचरा हर दिन कलेक्ट किया जाता है और उसे सेग्रीगेट किया जाता है। इसमें जो ऑर्गेनिक कचरा होता है उससे खाद बनाई जाती है। बाकी दूसरी चीजों को अलग करके रिसाइकल कर लिया जाता है। इस तरह के प्रयास प्रेरणादायी तो है ही, सिंगल यूज प्लास्टिक के खिलाफ भारत के अभियान को भी गति देते हैं। साथियों, इस समय जब मैं आपसे बात कर रहा हूं तो हिमाचल प्रदेश में एक अनोखी साइकिलिंग रैली भी चल रही है। मैं इस बारे में भी आपको बताना चाहता हूं। स्वच्छता का संदेश लेकर साइकिल सवारों का एक समूह शिमला से मंडी तक निकला है। पहाड़ी रास्तों पर करीब 250 किलोमीटर की ये दूरी ये लोग साइकिल चलाते हुए ही पूरी करेंगे। इस समूह में बच्चे भी और बुजुर्ग भी हैं। हमारा पर्यावरण स्वच्छ रहे, हमारे पहाड़, नदियां, समंदर स्वच्छ रहे तो स्वास्थ्य भी उतना ही बेहतर होता जाता है। आप मुझे इस तरह के प्रयासों के बारे में जरूर लिखते रहिए। मेरे प्यारे देशवासियों, हमारे देश में मानसून का लगातार विस्तार हो रहा है। अनेक राज्यों में बारिश बढ़ रही है। ये समय जल और जल संरक्षण की दिशा में विशेष प्रयास करने का भी है। हमारे देश में तो सदियों से ये जिम्मेदारी समाज ही मिलकर उठाता रहा है। आपको याद होगा, मन की बात में हमने एक बार स्टेप वेल्स इन बावड़ियों की विरासत पर चर्चा की थी। बावड़ी उन बड़े कुओं को कहते हैं जिन तक सीढ़ियों से उतरकर पहुंचते हैं। राजस्थान के उदयपुर में ऐसी ही सैकड़ों साल पुरानी एक बावड़ी है, सुल्तान की बावड़ी। इसे राव सुल्तान सिंह ने बनवाया था, लेकिन उपेक्षा के कारण धीरे धीरे ये जगह वीरान होती गई और कूड़े कचरे के ढेर में तब्दील हो गई है। एक दिन कुछ युवा ऐसे ही घूमते हुए इस बावड़ी तक पहुंचे और इसकी स्थिति देखकर बहुत दुखी हुए। इन युवाओं ने उसी क्षण सुल्तान की बावड़ी की तस्वीर और तकदीर बदलने का संकल्प लिया। उन्होंने अपने इस मिशन को नाम दिया सुल्तान से सूरतान। आप सोच रहे होंगे कि ये सूरतान क्या है? दरअसल अपने प्रयासों से इन युवाओं ने ना सिर्फ बावड़ी का कायाकल्प किया, बल्कि इसे संगीत के सुर और तान से भी जोड़ दिया है। सुल्तान की बावड़ी की सफाई के बाद, उसे सजाने के बाद वहां सुर और संगीत का कार्यक्रम होता है। इस बदलाव की इतनी चर्चा है कि विदेश से भी कई लोग इसे देखने आने लगे हैं। इस सफल प्रयास की सबसे खास बात यह है कि अभियान शुरू करने वाले युवा चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट्स हैं। संयोग से अब से कुछ दिन बाद 1 जुलाई को चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट डे है। मैं देश के सभी सीएस को अग्रिम बधाई देता हूं। हम अपने जल स्रोतों को संगीत और अन्य सामाजिक कार्यक्रमों से जोड़कर उनके प्रति इसी तरह जागरूकता का भाव पैदा कर सकते हैं। जल संरक्षण तो वास्तव में जीवन संरक्षण है। आपने देखा होगा आजकल कितने ही नदी महोत्सव होने लगे हैं। आपके शहरों में भी इस तरह के जो भी जल स्रोत हैं, वहां कुछ न कुछ आयोजन अवश्य करें। मेरे प्यारे देशवासियों, हमारे उपनिषदों का एक जीवन मंत्र है, चरैवेति चरैवेति चरैवेति। आपने भी इस मंत्र को जरूर सुना होगा। इसका अर्थ है चलते रहो, चलते रहो। ये मंत्र हमारे देश में इतना लोकप्रिय इसलिए है क्योंकि सतत चलते रहना, गतिशील बने रहना, ये हमारे स्वभाव का हिस्सा है। एक राष्ट्र के रूप में हम हजारों सालों की विकास यात्रा करते हुए यहां तक पहुंचे हैं। एक समाज के रूप में हम हमेशा नए विचारों, नए बदलावों को स्वीकार करके आगे बढ़ते आए हैं। इसके पीछे हमारी सांस्कृतिक गतिशीलता और यात्राओं का बहुत बड़ा योगदान है। इसलिए तो हमारे ऋषियों मुनियों ने तीर्थ यात्रा जैसी धार्मिक जिम्मेदारियां हमें सौंपी थी। अलग अलग तीर्थ यात्राओं पर तो हम सब जाते ही हैं। आपने देखा है कि इस बार 4 धाम यात्रा में किस तरह बड़ी संख्या में श्रद्धालु शामिल हुए। हमारे देश में समय समय पर अलग अलग देव यात्राएं भी निकलती हैं। देव यात्राएं यानी जिसमें केवल श्रद्धालु ही नहीं बल्कि हमारे भगवान भी यात्रा पर निकलते हैं। अभी कुछ ही दिनों में 1 जुलाई से भगवान जगन्नाथ की प्रसिद्ध यात्रा शुरू होने जा रही है। उड़ीसा में पुरी की यात्रा से तो हर देशवासी परिचित है। लोगों का प्रयास रहता है कि इस अवसर पर पुरी जाने का सौभाग्य मिले। दूसरे राज्यों में भी जगन्नाथ यात्रा खूब धूमधाम से निकाली जाती है। भगवान जगन्नाथ यात्रा आषाढ़ महीने की द्वितीया से शुरू होती है। हमारे ग्रंथों में आषाढ़स्य द्वितीय दिवसे रथ यात्रा, इस तरह संस्कृत श्लोकों में वर्णन मिलता है। गुजरात के अहमदाबाद में भी हर वर्ष आषाढ़ द्वितीया से रथ यात्रा चलती है। मैं गुजरात में था तो मुझे भी हर वर्ष इस यात्रा में सेवा का सौभाग्य मिलता था। आषाढ़ द्वितीया, जिसे आषाढ़ी बीज भी कहते हैं, इस दिन से ही कच्छ का नववर्ष भी शुरू होता है। मैं मेरे सभी कच्छी भाइयों बहनों को नववर्ष की शुभकामनाएं भी देता हूं। मेरे लिए इसलिए भी ये दिन बहुत खास है। मुझे याद है आषाढ़ द्वितीया से एक दिन पहले यानी आषाढ़ की पहली तिथि को हमने गुजरात में एक संस्कृत उत्सव की शुरुआत की थी, जिसमें संस्कृत भाषा में गीत, संगीत और सांस्कृतिक कार्यक्रम होते हैं। इस आयोजन का नाम है आषाढ़स्य प्रथम दिवसे। उत्सव को यह खास नाम देने के पीछे भी एक वजह है। दरअसल संस्कृत के महान कवि कालिदास ने आषाढ़ महीने से ही वर्षा के आगमन पर मेघदूतम लिखा था। मेघदूतम में एक श्लोक है, आषाढ़स्य प्रथम दिवसे मेघम आश्लिष्ट सानुम, यानी आषाढ़ के पहले दिन पर्वत शिखरों से लिपटे हुए बादल। यही श्लोक इस आयोजन का आधार बना। साथियों, अहमदाबाद हो या पुरी, भगवान जगन्नाथ अपनी इस यात्रा के जरिए हमें कई गहरे मानवीय संदेश भी देते हैं। भगवान जगन्नाथ जगत के स्वामी तो है ही, लेकिन उनकी यात्रा में गरीबों वंचितों की विशेष भागीदारी होती है। भगवान भी समाज के हर वर्ग और व्यक्ति के साथ चलते हैं। ऐसे ही हमारे देश में जितनी भी यात्राएं होती हैं, सब में गरीब, अमीर, ऊंच, नीच ऐसे कोई भेदभाव नजर नहीं आते हैं। सारे भेदभाव से ऊपर उठकर यात्रा ही सर्वोपरि होती है। जैसे कि महाराष्ट्र में पंढरपुर की यात्रा के बारे में आपने जरूर सुना होगा। पंढरपुर की यात्रा में कोई भी न बड़ा होता है न छोटा होता है, हर कोई वारकरी होता है, भगवान विठल का सेवक होता है। अभी 4 दिन बाद ही 30 जून से अमरनाथ यात्रा भी शुरू होने जा रही है। पूरे देश से श्रद्धालु अमरनाथ यात्रा के लिए जम्मू कश्मीर पहुंचते हैं। जम्मू कश्मीर के स्थानीय लोग उतनी ही श्रद्धा से इस यात्रा की जिम्मेदारी उठाते हैं और तीर्थयात्रियों का सहयोग करते हैं। साथियों, दक्षिण में ऐसा ही महत्व सबरीमाला यात्रा का भी है। सबरीमाला की पहाड़ियों पर भगवान अयप्पा के दर्शन करने के लिए यह यात्रा तब से चल रही है जब यह रास्ता पूरी तरह जंगलों से घिरा रहता था। आज भी लोग जब इन यात्राओं में जाते हैं तो उसे धार्मिक अनुष्ठानों से लेकर रुकने ठहरने की व्यवस्था तक गरीबों के लिए कितने अवसर पैदा होते हैं। यानी ये यात्राएं प्रत्यक्ष रूप से हमें गरीबों की सेवा का अवसर देती हैं और गरीब के लिए उतनी ही हितकारी होती हैं। इसलिए तो देश भी अब आध्यात्मिक यात्राओं में श्रद्धालुओं के लिए सुविधाएं बढ़ाने के लिए इतने सारे प्रयास कर रहा है। आप भी ऐसी किसी यात्रा पर जाएंगे तो आपको अध्यात्म के साथ साथ एक भारत श्रेष्ठ भारत के भी दर्शन होंगे। मेरे प्यारे देशवासियों, हमेशा की तरह इस बार भी मन की बात के जरिए आप सभी से जुड़ने का ये अनुभव बहुत ही सुखद रहा। हमने देशवासियों की सफलताओं और उपलब्धियों की चर्चा की। इस सब के बीच हमें कोरोना के खिलाफ सावधानी को भी ध्यान रखना है। हालांकि संतोष की बात है कि आज देश के पास वैक्सीन का व्यापक सुरक्षा कवच मौजूद है। हम 200 करोड़ वैक्सीन डोज के करीब पहुंच गए हैं। देश में तेजी से प्रिकॉशन डोज भी लगाई जा रही है। अगर आपकी सेकंड डोज के बाद प्रिकॉशन डोज का समय हो गया है तो आप ये तीसरा डोज जरूर लें। अपने परिवार के लोगों को, खासकर बुजुर्गों को भी प्रिकॉशन डोज लगवाएं। हमें हाथों की सफाई और मास्क जैसी जरूरी सावधानी भी बरतनी ही है। हमें बारिश के मौसम में आसपास गंदगी से होने वाली बीमारियों से भी आगाह रहना है। आप सब सजग रहिए, स्वस्थ रहिए और ऐसी ही ऊर्जा से आगे बढ़ते रहिए। अगले महीने हम एक बार फिर मिलेंगे। तब तक के लिए बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। नमस्कार।
And that was the Prime Minister's 90th Mann Ki Baat. Remember, Prime Minister Modi is currently in Germany as a special invitee to the G7 summit that India has the status of this year. Very quick break. On the other side, we're diving straight back into our top unfolding political drama. The Shinde Sena is still camping in Guwahati and has sought more time to present itself before the Deputy Speaker. Things are escalating, even though it's the weekend, and we're going to get you that full update on the other side of this break. Stay with us.
You are watching India Today.
Make your media plan smarter with India Today Live TV on your connected devices. Amplify your brand with 100 million smart internet viewers. To advertise, mail us at sales@aajtak.com or call 9999892171. India's #1 political reporter.
Defines what seems to be happening, vendetta politics. कोई दूध के से धुला हुआ नहीं है.
Unmatched eye, unmatched experience.
The world has changed. My black hair has become grey as well.
And with unmatched passion for the story.
Do not monopolize the conversation.
When it's 100% pure prime time. It's News Today with Rajdeep Sardesai. Monday to Friday, 9 p.m. Only on India Today TV. Make your media plan smarter with India Today Live TV on your connected devices. Everyone's busy finding what's trending. You're busy finding out why. India Today for those who research before reacting. Download the India Today app now. Make your media plan smarter with India Today Live TV on your connected devices.
You are watching India Today.
Make your media plan smarter with India Today Live TV on your connected devices.
You are watching India Today. You are watching India.
Thanks for staying with India Today's non-stop coverage of the entire Shiv Sena controversy, the huge split. Whether it's going to end in endgame for Chief Minister Uddhav Thackeray remains to be seen. But nearly a week since India Today broke what is turning out to be the biggest political story of 2022, now Shiv Sena protests have erupted outside the Samna newspaper office. Remember, Samna is a newspaper that is owned by the Shiv Sena. It's run by Sanjay Raut. Massive protests and sloganeering against Eknath Shinde, seen as a traitor by the Uddhav Sena, have begun outside the Samna office. Shinde supporters, meanwhile, have hit the streets of the city of Aurangabad in Maharashtra. Protests and counter-protests rocking Maharashtra. Eknath Shinde posters have been blackened by angry Uddhav supporters. Uddhav Sena camp organizes a bike rally against Shinde. So the Shiv Sena, which is doing what it is best known for, mobilizing for street agitation. Only this time, there are two different Senas going head to head against each other. One is the traditional Shiv Sena under Uddhav Thackeray that has begun agitating against Eknath Shinde, who, remember, is still in Guwahati at this point. I want to go across to India Today's Dave Kotak, who's going to be live with us in just a moment on all these protests that have broken out. The images that you're seeing are from outside the Samna office, where Uddhav supporters have decided to take matters into their own hands. Remember, this entire situation has unfolded, spiraled, escalated, gotten worse, gotten very personal, gotten very ugly. There has been vandalism against, the acts of vandalism on the offices of the MLAs who are in the rebel Shinde faction. But I want you to listen, viewer, for a moment to some of the slogans that are taking place on the ground. Just listen into some of the audio coming in. India Today's Dave Kotak, who's tracking this unfolding story very, very closely, is on the ground in Mumbai. Dave, outside the Samna office, in Aurangabad as well, it's a war of protests between the two Senas. What's happening right now?
Yes, absolutely. It's a massive display of strength and support that the party cadres are showing. Of course, we clearly know that with the rebel faction of the MLAs, the camp has been split into two. But however, the Shiv Senics continue to remain undivided. Of course, they owe their allegiance and their loyalty to the respective leaders. One is from Shiv Sena's Uddhav Thackeray, and the other is Eknath Shinde, who is currently camped along with the other rebel MLAs in Assam, in Guwahati. We are just hoping that these these supporters who are here on the ground, they don't clash against each other, because of course there have also been prohibitory orders in section 144, which is in full force, and Mumbai police is obviously keeping an eye out for any kind of nefarious elements that might just create trouble in terms of a law and order situation in the state. But however, they have just realized at this point in time, and there is heavy sloganeering that's happening. And of course, we will continue to monitor the latest developments and keep bringing the kind of updates as and when they trickle in for all our viewers. So, these are the kind of updates and the developments and also the information that we have for now.
What about Section 144, Dave? I thought Section 144 had been imposed in Mumbai. Does that not apply outside the Samna office?
Yes, absolutely. I don't know why it is not being imposed very strictly outside there. But Section 144 is clearly not just for areas in Kalyan and Thane, which happen to be strongholds of Eknath Shinde, but also it is applicable for the entire metropolitan in the entire city. Of course, we know that Mumbai Police has issued a list of to-dos and don'ts Clearly, one of them being not engaging in sloganeering, but of course that seems to have very little effect on the supporters who have mobilized and gathered outside, outside this particular venue, protesting at this point in time. Of course, it was one of the other things was also disallowing usage of weapons or carrying sticks and stones. That could result in any kind of violence later. But of course, like I mentioned earlier, we don't know why the police is not heavily cracking down and imposing the Section 144. Of course, it is applicable out there as well, but we will have to see later during the day if this increases, then we can expect the police also to try and step in and intervene in this matter.
Okay, Dave, stay with me. The images that we're showing you on your screens right now are of a pro-Udhav Sena rally by Shiv Seniks in Mumbai. So there are 3 separate protests, viewer, that are taking place right now. There are 2 protests taking place in Mumbai. One is this bike rally protest. The other is outside the Samna office. And the third protest is a rival protest. It's the Shinde faction protest that's taking place in Aurangabad. Interesting to see that pro-Shinde protests haven't been taking place in Mumbai just yet, probably out of nervousness over how the existing entrenched Shiv Sena might actually react. But these are live images coming in from Mumbai at this point of time. Let's just listen to some sound in. On your screen right now, and these are live pictures that we were showing you. Let's go back to that 4 window. I want to go back to those 4 images that we were showing on our screen from Mumbai, Thane, Aurangabad and Pune. 4 locations in Maharashtra where rival protests are taking place at this point of time. In Aurangabad and in Thane, the Shinde Sena is protesting. There is in Mumbai and Pune, pro. This is what Maharashtra strike this morning. Since 6 days, since this entire political blockbuster began, last Tuesday when India Today broke the story first, it's been 5.5 days and it has shown no signs of stopping. The Eknath Shinde faction sitting in Guwahati, Assam, and all the way across from the other end of the country has sought another 7 days' time before they present themselves before the deputy speaker. Hectic negotiations are currently on among the rebel MLAs. The Udhav Sena decided that muscle flexing is going to be the only way out. They've played the emotional card, they've played the threat. Now it's about showing strength on the ground, and that do this in a more evocative way perhaps than the Shiv Sena. They know how to mobilize, they know how to get their cadres on the ground in a really big way, and that's perhaps the strategy that the Shiv Sena has decided to use this weekend, considering that as far as numbers go, all else has failed. Dave, I noticed that the Shinde Sena protests are taking place only in Thane and Aurangabad. Why are there no pro-Shinde protests in Mumbai? Is there nervousness about doing it too directly in Mumbai?
Unlike other parts of Maharashtra, Mumbai has not witnessed as much violence. But like I said, that it is a lot more stricter and in full force out here because the police are keeping a close eye out and vigil. So, of course, despite the fact that Shiv Sena's base is Bombay, they hail originally from here and operate out of the heart of the city in Dadar, where the Sena Bhavan is situated. Despite the fact that the government has been so unstable, it has not really witnessed any form of violence as such. Because Uddhav Thackeray also strategically and at all points in time in his address, some way or the other, has been instructing his party workers and the cadres to maintain in a certain sense, maintain calmness and keep an eye out on the developments rather than just protesting by vandalizing things. He has said that no form of violence should take place. So, in a way, it is very controlled manner. Of course, the protests are extremely aggressive in a certain sense, but there has been no form of violence. Thankfully, public property has not been affected or been damaged in any sense. So, these are the kind of details that we have. Of course, like you said, the other pockets like Pune or in Aurangabad had sort of also witnessed violent incidents where party offices have also been damaged by these protesters and stuff like that. So these are the kind of details that we have also got in the past few days where offices have been ransacked or property has been damaged. So, these are the kind of things that have actually taken place. But in Mumbai, hardly there. In fact, there has been as good as zero incidents of vandalism or torching of public
Stay with me, Dev. I want to go across to Mustafa as well. He's tracking these protests as well. He's outside Sharad Pawar's house. That's one of the power centers in this unfolding political thriller. He joins me live. Mustafa, protests breaking out in at least 4 different cities of Maharashtra, including the state capital, Mumbai. Sharad Pawar, has been holding non-stop meetings over the last few days. Take us through, in light of the protests that are taking place right now and in light of what's happening in Guwahati, what does today look like in Mumbai politically? What kind of meetings are we expecting to see? Just list that for us, Mustafa.
Well, Shiv, from here on, the timing of everything will be very important. Today is Sunday, Vidhan Bhavan will be shut, so there is not much expected to happen. But remember, the 16 MLAs of the Shiv Sena who have been given disqualification notice, they have to appear by tomorrow. And if they don't appear, then there can be a decision of disqualification taken. Meanwhile, if you look at the other side, Bhagat Singh Koshai, the governor of Maharashtra, is back at Raj Bhavan. So is it likely that Eknath Shinde will come and meet Bhagat Singh Koshai, saying that the Maha Aghadi government is in the minority, as I have the 2/3 MLAs of the Shiv Sena. So there are a lot of political happenings which are due to happen, and Sharad Pawar, we are told, is analyzing the same, and he is due to leave for Delhi soon, and he'll be arriving in Delhi this afternoon. Further discussions may take place there. But yes, it seems like the time is of essence as of now, because these protests are taking place is one thing, but these are MLAs who have to be available for the people. So it can not be much later than that the constituents also start raising questions, where are our MLAs? So that is an unease which we are hearing from our sources is developing in the Shiv Sena MLAs who are in Guwahati, because everybody is looking at a long legal battle, and that is something which everybody wants to avoid as soon as possible. If you have to change the government, you have to be done quickly. Eknath Shinde has not staked the claim as of now. So whether he'll be doing it tomorrow, that's one thing. What happens in a disqualification hearing at Vidhan Bhavan is the second important thing. Back to you.
Mustafa, is Uddhav Thackeray likely to come out and make his presence felt with the Shiv Senics today at some point? We know he's done it a couple of times over the last couple of days, but this show of strength is also very symbolic. Any chance that he will be coming out, addressing them again, anything like that?
Well, as of now, there are no pre-planned events scheduled. As you rightly said, that since last 2 days, he has been addressing a lot of public meetings, which he has not been doing in his regular time as a chief minister also. So he has been addressing the workers a lot. Even Aaditya Thackeray is having planned rallies. While we speak, a bike rally is taking place from Samna office, where Sanjay Raut operates, to the Sena Bhavan. So these are things which are happening. They are trying to get together the cadre as much as possible. But also the concern is whether this Shiv Sena cadre is turning violent, and incidents of stone peltings are starting to be reported. That's one. And secondly, we were in Thane yesterday, which is the main stronghold of Eknath Shinde, where their workers were also very aggressive. They were asking Eknath Shinde's son Shrikant Shinde, if you give us, just tell us once, and we will also start replying violently. So these are things. It's a law and order is another bigger concern for the Maharashtra police. As much as this political drama drags on, there can be law and order issues. But Uddhav Thackeray as of now doesn't have any planned meeting. But as for last few days, he has been taking every available opportunity, coming on public platform, talking to Shiv Senics as to what has happened and what can happen. Back to you.
Okay, Mustafa, the images, things are escalating. It's a few minutes to noon right now. The Shiv Senics have decided that a show of strength is going to be the calling card today. The Shiv Sena is well versed in flexing this kind of muscle. They've got huge cadres. Many of them are very angry. Things are pretty much on edge. That's the reason also why the Mumbai police was forced to impose Section 144 in Mumbai. But let's just listen into some of these protests right now. Let's listen in. Let's get some audio in.
सर्व शिवसेने एक
As the Shiv Sena, shows off its muscle on the streets in an intimidatory gesture pointed at Eknath Shinde, who is sitting in Guwahati now for 5 days and running. There are some crucial developments in place in Mumbai that I want to turn your attention to. But take a very big here. The face of Aaditya Thackeray is on many posters today in Mumbai. He's no longer there, but the fight over his legacy only escalating and intensifying. How is it going to play out? Who's most could be decided in the next 48 hours? Big twist in Mumbai. Come right back for that breaking.
India's #1 political reporter.
Defines what seems to be happening, vendetta politics. कोई दूध के से धुला हुआ नहीं है.
Unmatched eye, unmatched experience.
The world has changed. My black hair has become grey as well.
And with unmatched passion for the story.
Do not monopolize the conversation.
When it's 100% news that matters. It's News Today with Rajdeep Sardesai. Monday to Friday, 9 p.m. Only on India Today TV. Make your media plan smarter with India Today Live TV on your connected devices. Make your media plan smarter with India Today Live TV on your connected devices.
You are watching
Make your media plan smarter with India Today Live TV on your connected devices. Amplify your brand with 100 million smart internet viewers. To advertise, mail us at sales@aajtak.com. Make your media plan smarter with India Today Live TV on your connected devices. Everyone's busy finding what's trending. You're busy finding out why. India Today, for those who research before reacting. Download the India Today app now. Make your media plan smarter with India Today Live TV on your connected devices.
You are watching India Today.
It's a super Sunday. Big political developments from Mumbai. Gonna get you straight into them. First, the headlines this morning. Maha political turmoil enters day 6. Protests and counter-protests rock several parts of Maharashtra. India Today, the only channel reporting on every single one of those from the ground with our own cameras. An emotional Eknath Shinde, the rebel leader, appeals to Shiv Sena. It says, battle fought to save Shiv Sena from the Maha Agadi. Meanwhile, top sources revealed to India Today on the secret meeting between Eknath Shinde and Maharashtra BJP chief Devendra Fadnavis in Gujarat's Vadodara. Dead of night, void of cameras, huge suspense over the BJP's role and what this end game is going to look like. Counting of votes for Lok Sabha by-poll in Azamgarh, Rampur and Sangrur in Punjab. 4 states, 7 assembly seats underway with multi-tier security cover. Samajwadi Party leads both seats in UP, while Shiromani Akali Dal Amritsar's chief leads from Sangrur. And a rousing welcome for Prime Minister Narendra Modi as he arrives in Germany for the G7 summit. Modi will hold meetings with over 12 world leaders to focus on the global economy, post-COVID recovery and the Ukraine crisis. Things have become visibly more volatile on the ground in Maharashtra on day 6 of this big political thriller in at least 4 different towns and cities of Maharashtra. Protests have broken out and we'll get you all those images. India Today is reporting them firsthand from the ground. But the big breaking unfolding story that we're continuing to update minute on minute, because this is a shape-shifting story, viewer, and we're constantly updating it from our bureaus both in Assam as well as in Maharashtra. The latest now is that the Shinde camp, the Eknath Shinde camp, has sought 7 days to respond to the summons from the Deputy Speaker of the Maharashtra Assembly. The Shinde camp has said asking for more time is our right. Shinde has sought legal advice over the attempt to disqualify at least 16 of the rebel MLAs who are camping with him in Guwahati, Assam. He says that he's in constant touch with his legal team as well. Dave Kotak and Mustafa Sheikh are with us live for more on this. Mustafa, quickly to you first. The Deputy Speaker has summoned Eknath Shinde and his MLAs. He's shot back saying, I need at least 7 more days, and is in touch with his legal team. Any word from the Assembly Deputy Speaker about this demand for 7 days?
The Deputy Speaker is yet to decide on the demand which has been made by Eknath Shinde and the rebel MLAs. Remember, there are total 16 MLAs against whom the disqualification process has been started, and in this process they have been asked to appear physically by Monday, which is tomorrow. We'll have to wait and see whether the Deputy Speaker takes a decision today on Sunday or decides on Monday. Is something we'll have to wait and see. But it's true that Eknath Shinde is discussing this case with constitutional experts and taking advice as to how things can progress. You remember, now they have sought for 7 days, but earlier they had also moved in a no confidence motion against the Deputy Speaker. He had rejected that motion, and then physically two MLAs from independent MLAs went and gave that letter of no confidence motion against Deputy Speaker, saying that you cannot decide on disqualification of MLAs if your own chair is under concern. So that is something, that's the whole point. If you look at this entire event, it doesn't look like it will go down so easily. The change in power will happen, but the cases can go up to Supreme Court, because there are a lot of constitutional legal bindings which are involved on both the sides. Shiv Sena may have 2/3 of the Eknath Shinde camp may have 2/3 of the MLAs with him, but they still cannot form the government unless they join some of the other existing political parties. That's what the Uddhav Thackeray camp is saying, while the Eknath Shinde camp is saying that under Article 10 paragraph 2 they are allowed to be as an independent party. And yesterday we heard about Shiv Sena Bala Sahib. That's the party they want to be on. So there are a lot of legalities which are still to be solved. There's no clarity. Even if Maha Aghadi is in minority, how will BJP and Eknath Shinde camp government move forward is something which is still not clear. Back to you.
Dev, what are you hearing about the Eknath Shinde camp? We're going to get Polabi in from Guwahati in just a moment as well, because she's our woman on the ground outside the Radisson Blu Hotel, where the rebel MLA, the Shinde Sena as we christened them, has spent the last 5 days in 5-star luxury, but there is no word on what their next step is going to be, and now they want 7 more days. But Dave, are these protests on the ground likely to increase today? Are they going to increase? Is today's main feature going to be visible protests on the ground?
Yes, absolutely. We are likely to see the protests getting intensifying as the whole movement and the rallying for support for Shiv Sena, especially with the Uddhav Thackeray camp. We are likely to see more of it, and it is definitely going to increase as the day progresses. Of course, we know, like I had mentioned this previously also a few minutes ago, that the support is only increasing. More Shiv Sainiks are expected to come. Of course, this is evident from the fact that in the last 3 to 4 days, the kind of firefighting measures that have been taken. So, of course, the party cadres are also taking due note of that and are standing by in full support of their leader. So, every time, a video appeal is made for Sainiks to come out and show their support, they are always there, be it the Yuva Sena or be it the old guard of the party, the members who have supported the Shiv Sena since Bala Sahib Thackeray's time. So these people who owe their allegiance to the Thackeray family, and more so Uddhav Thackeray at this point in time, who is going through a state of crisis, we are only likely to see more and more of these party cadres join in for these protests and show their support. Of course, we know that massive crowds turn up, to sort of show their support for Shiv Sena and their party leader. Like I mentioned, that the party is going through one of its most difficult times, and it's a political turmoil come crisis of a sort. So,
Stay with me, Dave. We've got more breaking coming in. We've got more breaking news coming in. The latest that we're hearing right now is that there's a crucial Sharad Pawar party meeting that has just concluded amidst this entire Maharashtra crisis. It's day 5 of the crisis since India Today broke it last Tuesday. Ajit Pawar, Jayant Patil are currently at Silver Oaks, that is Sharad Pawar's residence in Mumbai. The NCP chief, that is Sharad Pawar, is likely to travel to Delhi in a very short while from now. Remember, he was in Delhi when this entire crisis broke out. He had come down to Mumbai because of the huge implications of the possibility of the government that he's part of, collapsing in Mumbai. So he needed to go down there and show support to Uddhav Thackeray and the Shiv Sena. And now, after a crucial NCP meeting, we're hearing that Sharad Pawar is going to be flying back to Delhi in a short while from now. I want to bring in Mustafa Sheikh, who happens to be outside. These are images from after that meeting. He is outside Silver Oaks, that's Sharad Pawar's residence. Mustafa, can you tell us anything about the meeting? What happened? Praful Patel, Jayant Patil, Sharad Pawar were all in that meeting, and Sharad Pawar is apparently flying back to Delhi shortly. What can you tell us, Mustafa?
Yes, that's what we are hearing, that Sharad Pawar in some time will be moving out from Silver Oak. The place where we are standing right behind us is the Silver Oak estate. Some time ago, Jayant Patil, Ajit Pawar and Praful Patel have left from here after having a meeting. The meeting was essentially to discuss what can happen next, because what we are hearing that there can be a legal battle. Remember, the Deputy Speaker, Nirhari Zirwal, is from the NCP. So that the Deputy Speaker, as we know, is going to play a very crucial role, and hence maybe that's why Rajya Sabha MP Sanjay Raut this morning had tweeted a photo of the Deputy Speaker. So somewhere, this entire proceedings is going to be politically motivated. What the Eknath Shinde camp is trying is to get the CLP leader removed. Current CLP leader appointed by Uddhav Thackeray is Ajay Chaudhary. Earlier it was Eknath Shinde. So they want that somehow CLP leader is Eknath Shinde, and that's why the Eknath Shinde camp, after discussing with the legal experts, can also move court and tell the court that we have the 2/3 of the MLA. How can the party chief change CLP leader? So that is that would be the most crucial step for the Eknath Shinde camp as of now. Because remember, if they have to go through a flow test and Eknath Shinde is the CLP leader, he can issue a whip to vote in favor of the alliance which he wants. So that is something which the Eknath Shinde camp is focusing on. That's what's also discussed at the Silver Oak meeting back to you.
Very interesting. I want to bring Polomi in. She's in Guwahati, right outside the Radisson Blu Hotel, where the Shinde Sena has currently been camping for the last 5 days. Polomi, after that fly-by-night meeting in Vadodara with Fadnavis and Eknath Shinde and others, the level of mystery over what's going to happen next has hit fever pitch now. Sharad Pawar has just held a crucial meeting. He's flying back to Delhi apparently. Eknath Shinde and his camp have asked for 7 more days, adding even more uncertainty over what the next few days is actually going to look like. There are protests taking place in Mumbai right now. What is your understanding of Eknath Shinde? Is he playing for time? Is he waiting for this to go into the legal, into the legal domain? What is the strategy as far as Eknath Shinde is concerned? Because that whole idea of them not having a plan to grab power or take power, that is definitely debunked now.
Well, Shiv, there are a couple of points over here that I'd like to make, and this battle is being fought by the Eknath Shinde camp on at least 3 different fronts, as I was explaining earlier as well. One is the legal front, because they're in a bind with the disqualification notices which have been in fact moved against them by the Uddhav Thackeray-led faction, and the subsequent summons which have been issued to 16 rebel MLAs. What they've decided is that they will seek more time, 7 days time. They've not yet sought it. We are waiting for official word on whether they've gone ahead and notified the Deputy Speaker's office about it, but that is their plan of action. They say we can't be given just 2 days time in order to revert with our replies. We're going to seek more time. So while they do that, they're of course seeking legal advice on the same right now. They will of course, given the appropriate amount of time as per their request, they will of course file their written responses as well. Secondly, what they're going to do, it's possible as soon as tomorrow, it's possible, Shiv, that they could move a court. They could move, we're trying to find out a certain which court, probably even the apex court. They could move a court against the decision of the Deputy Speaker to appoint Ajay Chaudhary in place of Eknath Shinde as leader of the Legislative Party on the request of the Uddhav Thackeray-led faction, because their argument is when 38 MLAs of the Shiv Sena of a group of 55 is present over here with Eknath Shinde, how is the minority group deciding who should be the leader of the Legislative Party? Because maximum members, maximum legislators are currently with Eknath Shinde, so he should be, and he should continue as the leader of the Legislative Party. Then of course comes
from the camp that you're reporting on right now, big development. It's a counter strike by Eknath Shinde after facing a demand for the disqualification of the MLAs under the Shinde Sena. Shinde has now hit back and filed an official procedure seeking the disqualification of the MLAs who are still loyal to Chief Minister Uddhav Thackeray. It's a strike versus counter-strike strategy that is taking place, and we've got the inside track on the legal strategy that appears to be at play. I'm not going to sit here and say we know exactly what everyone is doing, but I can tell you that we've got the best sense. With India Today's India's #1 political team has the best sense of what this cloak and dagger is really looking like. Things are changing by the minute. Strategies are changing by the minute because each side is hugely in the dark about what the other side really plans to do. And that's the reason why there's a great deal of stealth, a great deal of cloak and dagger, and now this big counter strike by Eknath Shinde. His chief legal strategy thrust is going to be seeking the disqualification of the Uddhav Sena MLAs. This is big. A disqualification versus disqualification bid that is on the cards as far as MLAs are concerned. As far as numbers, let's remind all of our viewers that as far as numbers are concerned, the Shinde Sena still holds all the cards. It's still in a position of advantage. If it comes down to numbers today itself, the Shinde Sena would still emerge victorious. But as far as our democracy is concerned, there are various procedures that need to be gone through. It's not as simple as one set of numbers replacing the others. A floor test is possible. The courts could step in. There are very many constitutional procedures that protect a sitting chief minister, and therefore the legal route is being considered very strongly by Eknath Shinde, and he, on the very same ground, may demand the disqualification of MLAs who are with Uddhav Thackeray. We've got the inside track. In just a moment from now, I'm going to get you more on that legal strategy. India Today's Munish Pandey is about to break a big story as part of that legal angle. But let me bring Polomi back in. Polomi, apologies for interrupting you there. We just had to update our viewers on that breaking. But, this sort of makes things even more aggressive. It makes it a tucker of sort of nuclear proportions. Eknath Shinde, who until 6 days ago was part of this very Shiv Sena, sitting in Guwahati 5 days now and counting, has now decided to return fire at the Uddhav Sena and saying, I'm going to demand the disqualification of your MLAs. This has escalated big time. Follow me.
Absolutely, because now, they're, like I said, they're fighting the battle both sides on different fronts. And now it's very clear that the fact that, Eknath Shinde has been constantly, in fact, seeking legal advice, speaking to lawyers. He spent literally the bulk of the last 2 days, Shiv, here in Guwahati, seeking legal advice, especially after the attack mounted on the Eknath Shinde faction by the Uddhav Thackeray faction. So now he has to plan his counter strategy. So what he is planning, as Manish is reporting right now, is that he is going to seek the disqualification of the members of the legislative party who are currently with the Uddhav Thackeray-led faction. It remains to be seen how many of those members are named and who these members are, because we do know that as far as these camps are concerned, there are a couple of fence-sitters and well, and as you would have noticed, while there are 38 MLAs of the Shiv Sena inside Hotel Radisson Blue Shiv, a disqualification notice has been moved against 16 of them only. So there is a lot of calculated planning, a lot of strategizing that is happening. The 16 that we're talking about is core Shinde group. That is what the Uddhav Thackeray faction has moved against right now, including Eknath Shinde himself. So we have to see which grouping it is of the Uddhav Thackeray faction that this faction behind me in Guwahati moves against. So that is happening on the streets, Shiv. What we're learning is the Eknath Shinde camp and his supporters are going to up the ante over the next week. Starting Monday, they're going to hit this ground running. So while, of course, you can expect that these two sides are going to come face to face on the roads literally now, Shiv. That is going to happen. They're going to up the ante on the streets of Maharashtra as we speak. And very interestingly, Shiv, what has also happened today, something that we shouldn't miss, is that Governor Bhagat Singh Koshyari is back in the Raj Bhavan. That was a move which was awaited. That was something which was awaited. This was why this group behind me was biding its time, and it's possible that they could, in fact, while they've got it all sorted and ready with the legal advice, fighting it in the courts, they proceed to Governor House in Mumbai. Shiv.
Very, very interesting. Polomi, the numbers have held so far. There have been no dramatic changes in numbers. There appears to be only a one-way flow of numbers, from Mumbai to Guwahati, and not the other way around as the Uddhav Sena, would have wanted at this point of time. And that's one of the reasons why each new day has a different theme. On the first day, there were threats. On the second day and third day, there was a lot of emotional play. On the fourth day, threats once again. And on the fifth day now, you're seeing all these protests playing out. So very interesting evolution of how the Uddhav Sena is tackling all of this. But a question that I want to ask you, Poulomi, because, you're there and no one can be closer to what's happening in the Eknath Shinde camp than India Today's Poulomi Saha. So I'm going to ask her, Poulomi, any signs of things faltering? Because there has been a sense that one of Uddhav Sena's strategies would be to protect this in such a way that a sense of despondence sets in and maybe they can break the Shinde Sena. Any signs of the Shinde Sena splintering at all?
Absolutely not. At the moment, no. Yes, everyone anticipates that if this stretches on for longer, then there could be a possibility that, some of the MLAs over there could be frustrated because the Uddhav camp is in touch with them. Uddhav Thackeray's office, Sanjay Raut and others are in touch with them and are trying to break the ranks. But what we believe is that many of them came here anticipating that this is going to have its many layers in terms of the battle that they're fighting, and it could take a while. But expect, Shiv, that in the coming week, this will play out to the maximum as we see it in the state of Maharashtra, and you'll know exactly by the end of the week, next week, that is, who exactly comes out trumps as far as this battle is concerned. It's going to play out in a courtroom, it's going to play out in the Deputy Speaker's office, and it's definitely going to reach Raj Bhavan as well, is what I estimate, Shiv.
And speaking of, the courtroom that you just mentioned, I'm bringing in India Today's Munish Pandey as well. He's outside Devendra Fadnavis's residence. Remember, Fadnavis of the BJP, former chief minister, is the man, who is seen by many who could be the greatest gainer, when the chips finally fall in this political thriller. He could become chief minister once again. One scenario paints this as, Fadnavis returning as chief minister with Eknath Shinde as a deputy chief minister. But nothing can happen until all procedures are complete. In fact, Munish is just breaking the inside track of the legal strategy that appears to be being embraced by Eknath Shinde and his faction sitting in Guwahati. Munish, this information that you've accessed comes, a day after that secret meeting in Vadodara as well between Fadnavis and Shinde. Take us through this legal strategy. It's a big counter-strike.
Yeah, well, Shiv, this political fight, is going to be very crucial, but the legal fight is going to be the most important part of this entire Maharashtra drama. Now, as far as this legal fight is concerned, both these camps, Eknath Shinde and Uddhav Thackeray, they are strategizing what they are going to and what they are going with before the court. Because remember, after the disqualification notice by the Deputy Governor to the 16 rebel MLAs, there was a legal strategy placed by the Eknath Shinde camp. The first legal strategy was they will approach against the notice before the Supreme Court. But now what we are hearing, that they are also going to challenge the disqualification, but also in addition they are going to press this matter before the court that it should be the MLAs who are with Uddhav Thackeray, those MLAs should be disqualified. And what grounds they are going to mention before the court is that, first of all, Eknath Shinde has been the group leader of 55 MLAs of Shiv Sena. Now, more than two-thirds, that is more than 37 MLAs are with Eknath Shinde. So, Uddhav Thackeray is not in a power to change a group leader. So, Eknath Shinde remains the group leader. And now, as a group leader, Eknath Shinde is in power to disqualify MLAs who are with Uddhav Thackeray. Till yesterday, the strategy of Uddhav Thackeray was to make sure that these MLAs are disqualified. It was a threat to the MLAs who are with Eknath Shinde. But now the legal strategy of both the camps are changing. How it is going to play out before the court, that is something we have to wait and watch, for which we have to wait and watch. But as far as this legal fight is concerned, tomorrow we are expecting that the first move will be by Eknath Shinde, and later on Uddhav Thackeray's camp led by Mr. Anil Desai, who is a senior Shiv Sena leader, and he is the one who is keeping a close eye on the legal strategy. He is already in touch with the senior lords. He will be the one who will be strategizing about how to counter the claims of Eknath Shinde and their legal strategy. So it is going to be very important. Also, we have been given to understand that Mr. Sharad Pawar is also very interested in this entire legal fight, because it is also it is also for Sharad Pawar that the perception in the public was that this government was formed after intervention of Sharad Pawar. He was the leader who made sure that there should be alliance between NCP, Congress and Sena. But now this is going to embarrass Sharad Pawar also. So he's also keeping a close eye. He's going to Delhi. We have been given to understand is that he may meet some of the senior lawyers who are going to represent Uddhav Thackeray. So certainly it is going to be the most crucial fight of this Maharashtra drama. This legal fight is going to be something which will be deciding the next course of politics in Maharashtra. Shiv.
You know, very interesting. So this is all set to become a legal battle. You know, in the courtrooms, as Poulomi just said, even though the visible aspect of this political controversy, this political collision in Maharashtra has become bike rallies, streets of rage, street protests, Sainiks mobilizing in at least 4 or 5 different parts of Maharashtra on a Sunday. That's what has become the face of this entire controversy. I want to go back to Munish because the Sharad Pawar aspect of this entire story is one of the most intriguing. Sharad Pawar was in Delhi when the story broke. He came down to Mumbai. He's put up a show of support. There has been a sense that there is a bit of a trust breakdown between the NCP and the Shiv Sena, even though on the face of it, neither will actually, talk about it. But it looks like a beleaguered Uddhav Munish is going to have to depend on the, political mind and reach of a Sharad Pawar, perhaps, to save the Maha Vikas Aghadi. That's what it's.
Absolutely, Shiv. And what's more important, if you go by the chronology, first there was this Rajya Sabha members election. Then there was a statement by Sharad Pawar that these cross-voting happens in politics. There is nothing to be worried about. But later on, when this entire, there were rebel MLAs who went to Surat and then Guwahati, that was the first time when Sharad Pawar started intervening in this entire matter. Initially, there were senior leaders of Shiv Sena and NCP who were meeting. But then there was a personal meeting between Uddhav Thackeray and Sharad Pawar. And it happened when Mr. Uddhav Thackeray was also down with COVID. He was COVID positive. Still, Sharad Pawar went and met Uddhav Thackeray. So we have been given to understand is that Sharad Pawar is keeping a close eye. And why he is keeping a close eye? Because he was the one who was given credit for this formation of alliance. It was not a very natural alliance for Shiv Sena and even for NCP and Congress. All three parties have been fighting with each other, especially Shiv Sena versus NCP and Congress. But it was Sharad Pawar who made sure that this alliance comes together and stick for at least next 5 years. But after the fall of Shiv Sena, at least we can say at this point of time, because more than 2/3 of MLAs are with Eknath Shinde, after this fall, Sharad Pawar is trying everything possible in his capability to make sure that this should not embarrass only this alliance, but also this should not embarrass himself, because he is someone who is known as a political mastermind, political guru, not only in Maharashtra but in the entire country. Shiv.
Stay with me, Munisha. Interesting points you're making there. I want to go across to Paras Dama, who is at a site where protests are taking place in Mumbai right now. Let's get some voices in. Angry Sainiks have hit the road. Let's listen to some of them as well. Paras, over to you.
Shiv, we are at the Sena Bhavan right now, and you can see the visuals how the protesters are protesting against the rebel MLAs who are in Guwahati right now. Look at the visuals. This is all Sena supporters, Shiv Sena supporters over here. You can see they had just done a bike rally, and they are at Sena Bhavan right now. They started this rally from Samna office, where Sanjay Raut office is there. This is the Samna, the mouthpiece of Shiv Sena. From there, they had started the rally. You can see how much people had gathered around here, and they are protesting against the rebels who is in Guwahati, Eknath Shinde. They are only saying that this has not been done, this was wrong, whatever they had done, and they are protesting against them. The real Shiv Sena is what that Uddhav Thackeray is leading, is the real Shiv Sena in Guwahati, where Eknath Shinde is there. It's not the Shiv Sena, real Shiv Sena, which Eknath Shinde is saying. So right now protesters are very angry. We can see all around Maharashtra where Shiv Senics are protesting against Eknath Shinde, and it's going really difficult for Mumbai police also to handle that over here. You can see Mumbai police is trying to handle the situation. The bike rally is passing through. They were here for some time. The protesters were here for some time, and now they are leaving from here. They has supported Shiv Sena. They had supported Uddhav Thackeray, and now they are leaving from here. Shiv, over to you.
Paras, any chance of either Aditya or Uddhav Thackeray, coming to meet the Sainiks today? Today we're seeing the biggest sort of show of strength, the big crowds that have actually come out in different parts of Maharashtra. There are protests in favor of Eknath Shinde taking place in Thane and Aurangabad as well. Is there going to be any big appearance by any of the big leaders today?
It's very difficult to say Shiv, because the situation which is in Maharashtra is very difficult, and we are seeing that from past few days. Uddhav Thackeray and Aaditya Thackeray are taking some rallies. They are speaking to Shiv Senics. They are taking meetings. We probably it's not confirmed yet, but if he wants to speak to Shiv Senics, if he wants to talk to them, he can come here. But there is no confirmation yet that Uddhav Thackeray or Aaditya Thackeray will come to go and meet the Shiv Senics or any other leaders. Right now, they are just focusing on the thing which can save their government. We have seen Sanjay Raut also speaking to media in the morning, and he had targeted Eknath Shinde directly this time. The fight is gone to father's name now. So there are a situation which is taking place. You can see the protesters protesting everywhere in Maharashtra. The situation is getting tense. Probably there can be a law and order situation. So Mumbai police is also alert. We had seen yesterday 144 section 140 was imposed in Mumbai. So situation can get worse. So that's why Mumbai police is also ready. Protesters are angry and protesting against Eknath Shinde. Shiv.
That's what I wanted to know actually, Paras. The section 144 that was imposed in Mumbai yesterday, how are protests happening if section 144 was imposed?
Yes, of course, Shiv, very important question, because we had asked this same question to the Sarkar also. So yesterday they said they had taken some prior things from Mumbai police, and that's why they are just having this protest and all that things. But now the major question is that this law and order situation remains. That will be a very difficult task to control. So if 144 is imposed in Mumbai, this should not happen. This is the main point, Shiv, you are talking about. 144 is imposed, and still some people are roaming around, and this protests are happening. This will be the major difficult thing and a major cause to the state and Mumbai too. So how to handle this? This have to be done by Uddhav Sarkar and MVA Sarkar, because this will happen. It can create lot of problem for the state.
Paras, stay with me. The protests are spreading. They are escalating in intensity as well. It's quite likely that you will see protests breaking out in more places apart from Mumbai, Thane, Pune and Aurangabad. There are two protests that are on your screen in Mumbai and Pune that are Uddhav-centric. They are pro-Uddhav protests. And there are two protests that are taking place in Aurangabad and Thane, which are pro-Shinde protests. And this can only escalate. It's an incendiary recipe for possible vandalism. We've already seen a bit of it happening in the offices of the rebel MLAs yesterday and the day before. We'll keep a very close watch on it. We'll try and get a word in from the Mumbai police as well. On these images, quick break. Back with more.
The men and women who built Indian industry, and the young guns who are shaping tomorrow's India. From storied careers to unicorn dreams, The past meets the future on the Business Today show with Udayan Mukherjee.
Make your media plan smarter with India Today Live TV on your connected devices.
You are watching India
Make your media plan smarter with India Today Live TV on your connected devices. Everyone's busy finding what's trending. You're busy finding out why. India Today, for those who research before reacting. Download the India Today app now. Make your media plan smarter with India Today Live TV on your connected devices.
You are watching
The big unfolding crisis in Maharashtra has reached a fever pitch on day 5 since India Today broke the story. It's been a non-stop political escalation over the last 5 days. It began last Tuesday, we're on Sunday. Here are the top 5 developments we're tracking in this rapidly shifting story. Number 1, the Maharashtra government has slapped disqualification notices and summoned the rebel Shinde MLAs to Mumbai tomorrow. Sources say that the Shinde camp has sought more time to respond to the summons, at least 7 days. The Shinde camp is continuously in touch with lawyers and is seeking legal advice. In a big India Today scoop late at night, sources tell us that Eknath Shinde and BJP leader Devendra Fadnavis had a secret meeting in Vadodara, Gujarat last night to discuss possible government formation in Maharashtra. That's right. Eknath Shinde flew from Guwahati to Vadodara to meet Devendra Fadnavis, is what we've been reporting. The third big development in this political story, as the situation in Maharashtra continues to deteriorate, Shinde supporters have hit the streets. The Shiv Sena too has responded with protests, anti-Shinde slogans being raised as we speak outside the Samna newspaper office that's owned by the Shiv Sena. NCP leaders Jayant Patil and Ajit Pawar have just concluded a meeting with their party boss Sharad Pawar at his residence Silver Oak in Mumbai. Pawar is expected to depart for Delhi very shortly, where he is expected to begin a legal fight to save the Maha Aghadi, an alliance in which the NCP is one part. Meanwhile, Shiv Sena MP Sanjay Raut has taunted Eknath Shinde and his rebel MLAs once again, saying, "Use your father's name to seek votes, not Pala Sahib's." He has also dared the Sena rebels, saying, "Come to Mumbai and face the Shiv Sainik." So threats, after emotions, threats have been projected at the Sena rebels. Things very, very clear. The shape of things become very clear from what we're about to break to you here, viewer. Y+ security has been provided by the central government to 15 rebel MLAs who are part of the Shinde faction of the larger Shiv Sena, the Shinde rebellion in Guwahati. All eyes are now on Shinde's Maha Ghar Wapsi. Y+ security, which includes armed personnel and CRPF security cover, has been provided by the central government to 15 Shinde MLAs. Remember, Shinde has 47 MLAs with him in Guwahati, but out of these 15 MLAs who are part of the inner circle, the closed Shinde faction, as it were. That's right, there are circles within circles even here in Guwahati. They've been provided Y+ VIP security cover by the central government. It's going to be interesting to see what this security cover has been provided for. This is probably because some of these persons' offices have been vandalized by Shiv Seniks in the last couple of days. We're going to get a reporter in on this big breaking story in just a moment from now. Y+ security, which involves armed personnel as well as CRPF security cover, being provided to 15 rebel Shinde MLAs sitting in Guwahati. It's going to be very interesting to see what this security really is about. Are preparations being made for that highly anticipated return to Mumbai by the Shinde Sena? On the other hand, why have only 15 MLAs been provided this security? Is there a threat perception? Is it because these MLAs have had their offices vandalized by Udhav Sainiks in Mumbai? It's not very clear. It could be a combination of all of these factors. But I want to go across to Arvind Ojha, our crime bureau chief, who's been tracking all the political developments here. Arvind, Y+ security cover दिया गया है 15 शिंदे MLAs को. सिर्फ ये 15 MLAs को क्यों दिया है, वजह क्या है, जरा बताइए अरविंद.
देखिए जिस तरीके से हालात बदले हैं मुंबई में, और उसके बाद जो एकनाथ शिंदे गुट है उनके विधायक यहाँ पर अटैक हुआ था, वेंडलाइज हुआ था, तोड़ फोड़ हुआ था, उसके बाद ये सिक्योरिटी वाई कैटेगरी की वो प्रोवाइड कराई गई है, क्योंकि कई जो MLAs हैं एकनाथ शिंदे गुट के, वो आशंका जता रहे थे कि जब वो मुंबई पहुँचेंगे तो उनको खतरा हो सकता है. और इन सब के बीच नया डेवलपमेंट है कि इस वक्त मैं जंतर पर मंतर में मौजूद हूँ, और यहाँ पर अगर आप देखें तो जो शिव सैनिक है वो यहाँ पर मौजूद है, और बाकायदा अगर आप देखें तो पोस्टर बैनर लेकर उद्धव जी आगे बढ़ो हम तुम्हारे साथ हैं. जो उद्धव ठाकरे हैं उनके समर्थन में जो शिव सैनिक है वो दिल्ली के इस जंतर मंतर पर इस वक्त मौजूद है. कुछ देर बाद ये प्रोटेस्ट यहाँ पर करेंगे. आप देख पा रहे हैं यहाँ पर बाकायदा नारेबाजी भी यहाँ पर हो रही है. और जो दिल्ली के राज्य प्रमुख हैं शिवसेना के, हम उनसे मंगत राम मुंडे, हम उनसे बात करते हैं. ये आप लोग यहाँ पर क्यों शिव सैनिक यहाँ पर इकट्ठा हुए हैं, किस लिए, ये बताएं.
शिवसेना पक्ष प्रमुख माननीय उद्धव साहब ठाकरे जी के पास ये जो शिव सैनिक आज इसलिए इकट्ठा हुए हैं उनको अपना समर्थन देने के लिए, और देश के लाखों शिव सैनिक माननीय उद्धव साहब के साथ हैं.
तो वो कौन है फिर एकनाथ शिंदे, वो क्या शिवसेना में नहीं है? क्योंकि वो भी अपने आप को शिव सैनिक बता रहे हैं कि हम ही असली शिव सैनिक हैं. वो
असली शिवसेना माननीय बाला साहब ठाकरे जी के पुत्र परम आदरणीय हमारे उद्धव साहब ठाकरे जी हैं, और जो उनके खिलाफ जाएगा वो संगठन विरोधी है. उनको शिव सैनिक कतई बर्दाश्त करने वाले नहीं है.
बर्दाश्त नहीं करने का मतलब क्या, जिस तरह से तोड़ फोड़ पुणे में वैसा बर्दाश्त?
नहीं, शिव प्रसाद देंगे उनको.
क्या शिव प्रसाद होता है?
शिव प्रसाद सम्मान करेंगे उनका, जो गद्दारी करेंगे पार्टी से.
तो आप देख पा रहे हैं शिव, आपने सुना भी होगा कि शिव प्रसाद देंगे. अब शिव प्रसाद क्या होगा, क्या होता है, ये कोड वर्ड है. अब ये डिकोड करना अपने आप में बात है, और शायद यही वजह है कि जो वाई कैटेगरी की सिक्योरिटी है वो प्रोवाइड की गई है। लेकिन शिव आप सीधे सीधे सुन रहे हैं जो, और बाकायदा कोशिश करेंगे आपको जो पोस्टर बैनर है वो भी हम आपको दिखा दें। बाकायदा उद्धव ठाकरे उनके समर्थन में दिल्ली के जंतर मंतर पर लोग ये इकट्ठा हुए हैं। लेकिन जो राज्य प्रमुख हैं ये दिल्ली के, उनकी बात आपने सुनी। यही लगभग जो शिव सैनिक हैं, खासकर उद्धव ठाकरे के समर्थन में जो लोग हैं, उनकी जो लैंग्वेज है फिलहाल 2 से 3 दिन में कुछ इसी तरीके से बदली है। शिव प्रसाद क्या होता है ये शिव सैनिक ही जाने, और शायद यही वजह है कि जो वाई कैटेगरी की सिक्योरिटी है वो मिली हुई है। और फिलहाल जंतर मंतर पर शिव सैनिक इकट्ठा हुए, हम जरा एक बार आपको दिखाएंगे। सिक्योरिटी भी यहाँ पर है, सीआरपीएफ के जो जवान हैं वो भी यहाँ पर तैनात है इस प्रोटेस्ट को लेकर। लेकिन फिर वहाँ मैं इस शब्द को आपको बताना चाहूँगा कि शिव प्रसाद क्या है। जब दिल्ली में शिव सैनिक, खासकर उद्धव ठाकरे के जो समर्थन में शिव सैनिक है वो अगर इतने आक्रोशित है, तो मुंबई में क्या हालात होंगे आप इसका अंदाज़ा लगा सकते हैं। कि शिव सैनिक कह रहे हैं कि हम उनको जो एकनाथ गुट है, एकनाथ शिंदे का गुट को हम उनको जो है वो शिव प्रसाद देंगे।
वेरी वेरी इंटरेस्टिंग। शिव प्रसाद विल बी गिवन। इस हालात में मुझे नहीं लगता कि किसी रेबल एमएलए को शिव प्रसाद चाहिए होगा, बट थिंग्स आर हीटिंग अप इन अ वेरी बिग वे. Arvind Oja breaking crucial story from Delhi that Y+ security has been provided by the central government to 15 rebel MLAs sitting in Guwahati right now. We're going to try and go across to Polami in just a moment. But another piece of breaking news coming in: Governor Koshyari. Remember, the governor of Maharashtra is the constitutional authority through which any government change can happen in the state. Governor Koshyari was down with COVID. We understand that he is back home now. He's recovered. He's been discharged from hospital. He's back in the Raj Bhavan after COVID-19. And like India Today's Polami Saha has been reporting, with the governor back in office, and back and able to discharge his duties, the wheels of transformation might actually begin to change. Mustafa Sheikh continues to be with us outside Sharad Pawar's residence. There's been a lot of movement from there as well since earlier today. Mustafa, the breaking story today: Governor Koshyari is back in the Raj Bhavan, which means he can discharge his duties. But I want to get your perspective, Mustafa, on the slightly more pressing piece of breaking news, which is that the central government has provided Y+ security to 15 of these rebel MLAs who are sitting, with Eknath Shinde. We don't know which 15 these are, but they're said to be part of the closest faction. Some of their offices were also vandalized. What are you hearing on that front, Mustafa?
Well, Shiv, if we connect the dot, it's obvious that the 15 MLAs must be the MLAs who have been given the notice of disqualification, because that hearing date is tomorrow scheduled to happen at Vidhan Bhavan, where the Deputy Speaker has called them. So the question is, they have kept the way open. If they are approaching Supreme Court, something doesn't work out, so they have to be available for the hearing. So it is now likely that the MLAs may come for a hearing, because remember, Eknath Shinde has more than 50 MLAs with him. Why only give security to Y+ security to 15 MLAs? So this 15 MLAs, which means are going to make a move, or they are likely to go to make a move, and hence the central government has provided them Y+ security if in Mumbai, Delhi, Gujarat, wherever they want to go, because it's a physical hearing notice which was given to the 16 MLAs for disqualification. So it's likely that these must be the same MLAs who have been given this security, so that they can come to Mumbai, attend the disqualification hearing in front of the Deputy Speaker. Meanwhile, the Eknath Shinde camp will try and work out their options with the governor at the Supreme Court, and they will try to see as soon as possible that they can stake claim on the government. Back to you.
Okay, they can stake claim on the government. There are very many different scenarios that are playing out right now. The legal aspect is casting a big shadow of uncertainty, even more uncertainty, should I say, on this unfolding situation. Sharad Pawar is going to be leaving for Delhi very shortly, where we are hearing he's going to be speaking to top constitutional lawyers and others about this unfolding situation. They're going to lawyer up in a very big way. The Shinde faction is also lawyering up. They're speaking to their own legal counsels about what they can do. There is a disqualification versus disqualification battle that's taking place. And now, very interestingly, the Shinde Sena MLAs who've been targeted with disqualification notices have all received Y+ security. So this is a battle that's going to go down to the wires. No action is being seen as too big or too direct as far as the BJP is concerned as well. So this is a situation that you can expect to see spiral very, very rapidly. I'm going to get Polomi in on this in just a moment. Mustafa continues to be with me. We'll have Sahil joining us also in a second. The numbers, remember, very important as we continue to give you, non-stop pieces of breaking news, is that the numbers are holding steady. Now, if the numbers were faltering, then, things could go this way or that. The Eknath Shinde faction being, forced to stretch this game out, for so many days, 5 days and counting now, would become more vulnerable and threatened with each passing hour. But the fact that the Shinde Sena has been able to demonstrate the ability to keep its flock together, keep those numbers steady. Not a single MLA has, changed his mind and his or her mind and decided to fly back from Guwahati is telling in itself. That appears to suggest that there is a great deal of backing. The big meeting between Eknath Shinde and Devendra Fadnavis yesterday is, of course, the big India Today news break that everyone has been forced to cover. They don't have the details, of course, but that's a different story. Sharad Pawar is headed to Delhi to begin what could be a legal battle to rescue the Maha Aghadi. I'm going to ask our producers to quickly update me on the reporters we have on hand right now so I can go with them. Mustafa continues to be with me. We'll be getting Sahil with us in a moment. Mustafa, when is Sharad Pawar expected to leave for Delhi?
Well, Sharad Pawar will be leaving in sometime soon because he has a flight to catch this afternoon. He'll be leaving because as the presidential candidate of the opposition will be filing his candidature. But also what we are hearing on ground is the shift that from our reporter Palas Dhama is saying that Sada Sarvankar, who is one of the MLAs who has gone to Guwahati, the central forces deployment is already seen outside his house. So the Eknath Shinde camp had yesterday claimed that there are some security issues with security being withdrawn by the government and hence their family is in danger. So it seems like the securities are already starting to be deployed in Mumbai, Thane, Ulhasnagar, and people who are close to Eknath Shinde. And Sada Sarvankar, the MLA from Dadar, Shiv Sena MLA from Dadar, outside his house, our colleague Paras is reporting that the security has already been beefed up, and the second he can see the central security forces, maybe the CISF, deployed already there. So this is an update which we are getting on the ground that soon after the update of security increase or Y+ security by central agencies came out, the security deployment has already happened. So it's a planned decision which was taken so that there is no security threat to the families of the MLAs who are in Mumbai or other parts of Maharashtra. Back to you.
Okay, I just want to, just for a moment, I want to take our viewers' attention to the fact that towering above all of the faces you see, the protests that are taking place on the road, the Sena MLAs of the Uddhav faction, the Shinde MLAs sitting, as you can see, all smiling and looking very powerful, looking like they're all going to be part of a new Shiv Sena or a new government in Maharashtra in these fresh images that India Today has accessed from the Radisson Blu Hotel. Remember that the shadow that has been cast across all of them right now is that of the Shiv Sena patriarch and founder, Balasaheb Thackeray. He's no longer around, but boy, is his name being used. Not surprising, because he is that larger-than-life personality that defined the Shiv Sena and its brand of politics. And now there's an ugly war, a tug-of-war over that legacy, with Eknath Shinde even daring to say that the Uddhav Sena is not the true inheritor of Balasaheb's legacy and that they have adulterated and contaminated his politics by partnering with parties like the NCP and the Congress party to make the Maha Aghadi. You've got Sanjay Raut now pointing at Eknath Shinde and saying, how dare you use Balasaheb's name? Use your own, apne baap ka naam lo. Take a look at this.
Shinde Sena versus Uddhav Sena war is now personal. The fight is for Bal Thakray's name and legacy. At the Shiv Sena executive meet, Uddhav had a clear message for Eknath Shinde and the rebels.
ठाकरे आणि शिवसेना ही दोन शब्द वेगळे करून तुम्ही शिवसेना चालून दाखवाच. माझं आज सुद्धा आव्हान आहे. काढा, बाळासाहेबांचाही फोटो वापरायचा नाही, मी तर नालायकच आहे, माझा फोटो लावूच नका. पण बाळासाहेबांचाही फोटो न लावता तुम्ही शिवसेना नावाने जगून दाखवा.
The message from Shiv Sena is clear. Uddhav Thackeray is only inheritor of Bala Sahib's legacy. The party is also going to move the election commission to stop the Shinde faction from misusing Bala Sahib's name.
We have taken unanimous decision that Shiv Sena will work under the leadership of Shri Uddhav Bala Sahib Thackeray, and whatever he deems fit in terms of action, in terms of reaction, in terms of legalities, in terms of technicalities, in terms of politically, we all stand firmly behind him.
लोग शिवसेना का नाम से भीख मत मांगे, और अगर वोट मांगते हैं तो अपने खुद के बाप के नाम पर मांगे. शिवसेना के बाप, हमारे बाप उद्धव बाला साहब ठाकरे के नाम पर मत मांगने का आपको अधिकार नहीं. आप अपने बाप के नाम से वोट मांग सकते.
The Sena roar has been triggered after India Today's exclusive political news break. India Today was the first to report that Shinde and the rebels are going to form a separate faction and will name it Shiv Sena Bala Sahib. In an exclusive conversation with India Today, rebel MLA Deepak Sarkar claimed that Shinde had sent a letter to the deputy speaker seeking recognition as a separate party.
हम लोग अभी भी शिवसेना में हैं. जो एक मिसअंडरस्टैंडिंग फैली जा रही है कि हम लोगों ने शिवसेना छोड़ी है, ऐसी कोई भी बात नहीं है. हम सिर्फ अपना गट अलग कर रहे हैं, और जो बाला साहब की विचारधारा है कि हम किस दिशा में जाना चाहते हैं, इसके बारे में हमने हमारे पक्ष प्रमुख जी को बार-बार विनती की थी.
Dropping a massive hint, rebel MLA Deepak Sarkar also asserted that rebel camp has only two options now, either to support the NCP or join hands with the BJP.
आपका ये शिवसेना बाला साहिब नाम का जो कोई गुट बनेगा, जिसको मान्यता शायद मिल भी जाए, वो गुट अपने आप को उनको मर्ज करना पड़ेगा किसी पॉलिटिकल पार्टी में. तो या तो वो नहीं है, हो सकती है, या आपकी कोई और, या नहीं है. अच्छा,
ऐसे बिल्कुल नहीं है. ऐसा कुछ प्राविधान नहीं है. वो तो अलग गट करके आप बैठ सकते हैं, और वैसे हम लोग बैठेंगे. आज जो सिर्फ चल रहा है प्रेशर टैक्टिक्स चल रहा है महाराष्ट्र में, और ऐसे कोई भी नहीं है. जो भी प्रोविजंस होंगे कायदे की, उसके हम लोग अमल बजावनी करेंगे.
This comes after Maharashtra Deputy Speaker rejected the no confidence motion moved against him by the Shinde camp. 16 rebels have also been served disqualification notices. They have been asked to respond by June 27th, 5 p.m. Uddhav has declared he's the rightful heir of Bala Sahib's legacy, but Shinde remains defiant.
जो हम लोग ने पिटीशन फाइल की थी, उसी के ऊपर सोमवार को 5:30 बजे स्पीकर महोदय के सामने सारे 16 बागी जो विधायक है शिवसेना के, उनको आना पड़ेगा, और उनकी बाजू उनको यहाँ इन पर्सन आके बोलनी पड़ेगी.
The real question remains unanswered. Who is the real Shiv Sena? Bureau Report, India Today.
And we've got more breaking news coming in on the back of our news break on Y Plus security being provided to 15 Shinde Sena MLAs owing to a security perception and the disqualification notices that have been issued against them. One of them is Sada Sarvakar. And outside his residence is India Today's Paras Dama, who's bringing us this live report on the CRPF that's been deployed outside his residence owing to a threat that was enunciated by him to him and his family. Remember, Sada Sarvakar is one of the MLAs who's sitting currently in Guwahati, part of the inner faction of the Shinde Sena. Paras, what's going on there? Security already visible.
Yes, security has been increased over here. These are all CRPF Jawans who are all here, who are deployed over here for the security of Sadak Sarwankar's family. Sadak Sarwankar was continuously saying that there is a threat given to him and to his family, and that's why now Center has provided them with CRPF security. You can see that CRPF Jawans are over here from last 15 to 20 minutes, and this is very important because we had seen the direct attacks of Shiv Sena to Eknath Shinde group, the rebel group which is in Guwahati, and rebel group are saying continuously that they have been threatened by some of the people, and they have not been provided by any security, or their family has been not provided with any security. On the other hand, Home Minister of Maharashtra, Dilip Valse Patil, said he will provide security to all the MLAs, MLAs who are in Guwahati and their families. He will provide, but we can't see any security provided by the Home Minister. So now Center has provided the security to all this 15 or 16 the disqualification MLAs that had been filed by Shiv Sena. So here are the visuals. This is Sadak Sarwankar house, and these are the CRPF who has been deployed for the security of Sadak Sarwankar family, Shiv. And this is the very important step taken by Center right now. So question arises, what the MLAs doesn't trust Mumbai police or Maharashtra police? So that's why now help has come from the Center. This is the major question which is rising now, Shiv.
Have his family said anything? Have Sadak Sarwarkar's family said anything? There's a threat to his family apparently. Anything coming from inside his home yet, Paras?
Possibly there are a very, very low chance of family speaking because they are been threatened, and Sadak Sarwankar has told this. So it's very difficult that family will speak anything. But this visuals tells the story that they were threatened, and that's why Center has provided with CRPF security to them. And Mumbai police are also there. 2-3 constable I can see over here. Mumbai police is also there. But the major thing is that for now has after the threat calls or the threat messages which was given to Sadak Sarwankar and another MLAs, the rebel MLAs, the security has been increased, and we are at the Sadak Sarwankar residence in Mumbai's Dadar, and you can see the CRPF Jawans are standing tall and securing the premises.
Paras, stay with me. Okay, so CRPF security cover has been provided to one MLA, Sadak Sarwarkar. We've got those first images of the security that's already been deployed outside his house. This has increased the expectation of the so-called ghar wapsi of all of these MLAs. Security has been provided to them. Disqualification notices are flying, at each other between Mumbai and Guwahati right now. But when is that big flight home? When is Shinde going to bring all his rebel MLAs to Mumbai? Continues to be really the big question at this point of time. Day 6, and I want to, I want to update all of our viewers on everything that is happening right now in Maharashtra, because this issue has spread. It's not confined to Mumbai anymore. Of course, the other half of what's going on is in Guwahati. But even within Maharashtra on day 6, things have escalated and expanded. The Maharashtra political drama is on day 6. Both the Udhav Sena and the Shinde Sena continue to remain totally defiant. The Shinde camp has extended its stay in Guwahati for at least 2 more days. It means more trouble for the Maha Aghadi because those numbers are simply not falling. Sources say the Shinde camp has called the legislative party leader change by Uddhav Thackeray as illegal. As for that, he needs the support of at least 37 MLAs, which is a number that Uddhav simply does not have at this point of time. That's a fact. On the very same ground, the Shinde Sena, like we've been reporting, may be demanding the disqualification of MLAs who are currently with Uddhav Thackeray. Now, amidst this entire political crisis, Shiv Sena leader Sanjay Raut has launched a bitter attack, perhaps his most scathing attack so far, at Eknath Shinde, daring him to come to Mumbai and face the Shiv Senics. While attacking Eknath and the rebel MLAs, Raut said, make a party after your father's name. Why are you using Bala Sahib's name? This comes after the rebel Shinde Sena has reached out to Shiv Sena workers saying, we are doing this for the Sena, not for ourselves. Now, in an outreach, Eknath Shinde says that he's fighting for Bala Saheb's Hindutva and that he wants to free the Sena of the Maha Vikas Aghadi. Now remember, everything that you're seeing play out today is happening in the wake of a huge overnight India Today political scoop, because this has changed the narrative, changed the game, answered many questions, but also raised many new questions about what this end game in Uddhav Thackeray's career trajectory is going to look like. India Today had this huge scoop, and that's the reason why everyone else is sort of scrambling for details right now while we report it straight, is a big stealthy meeting that took place late last night between Eknath Shinde, who reportedly flew all the way from Guwahati in east to Vadodara in the west, in Gujarat, to meet with Devendra Fadnavis, the one guy who's been totally silent right through this entire thing. But remember, he is the person who stands to gain the most if it is end game Uddhav, because it is likely that if there is a BJP-led government, it will be Fadnavis who will be the chief minister, and perhaps Eknath Shinde as deputy chief minister. Take a look. 2:30 a.m. fly-by-night operation behind closed doors. Nobody even knew about it. Of course, nothing happens without India Today knowing about it. Take a look.
Maharashtra's political drama is playing out from the west to the east of India.
National Party है, ये महाशक्ति है, यानी आख्या.
From Gujarat to Delhi to Assam, the Shiv Sena implosion has had multiple pit stops and several key players. Now, India Today's open source intelligence unit has uncovered a secret meeting between rebel leader Eknath Shinde and Maharashtra Bharatiya Janata Party chief Devendra Fadnavis in Vadodara. On 24th June evening, Shinde flew to Delhi in a Cessna private jet, left Guwahati at around 10:30 p.m, reached Delhi at around 12:45 a.m. He then left for Vadodara at 1 a.m. in a different jet, which was the Dassault Falcon 2000, that was waiting for him at the airport. That aircraft reached Vadodara at 2:30 a.m. Devendra Fadnavis left from Mumbai post 9 p.m. on 24th June in a private aircraft. Fadnavis first went to Indore, and then from there he went on and landed in Vadodara. Devendra Fadnavis returned to Mumbai from Vadodara around 5:45 a.m. This entire sequence of events transpired in the dead of the night, without cameras and raising suspense. What was discussed cannot be good news for Uddhav Thackeray, who has been making frantic appeals to rebel MLAs over the phone. Sources suggested that Chief Minister Uddhav Thackeray's wife is also trying to douse the fire by attempting to convince the family members and partners of the rebel MLAs. The Shiv Sena is nearing a split. Eknath Shinde holding secret meetings with old friends. Where does that leave the Thackeray family? Here on. With Polumi Saha and Ankit Kumar, Bureau Report, India Today.
All right, breaking news coming in. Y+ security to 15 rebel MLAs from the central government. No security cover for Eknath Shinde. That's the latest coming in right now. The 15 rebel MLAs are now getting Y+ security and no security cover for Shinde. That is the big breaking story we're tracking at this point of time. This is happening, remember, amidst the Maharashtra political crisis. After Uddhav supporters attacked the offices of Sena rebels, 15 MLAs in Guwahati have received Y+ security. The political crisis, viewers, continues to unfold in Maharashtra. It is the rebel camp, as you already know, led by Minister Eknath Shinde. He's floated an idea to form a group named Shiv Sena Bala Saheb. In fact, Uddhav Thackeray yesterday even chaired a meeting in Mumbai with Sena leaders and passed resolutions, moved EC to restrain any other political outfit or faction, for that matter, in this case the Shinde faction, from using the name of Shiv Sena and its founder Bala Sahib Thackeray. Now the latest coming in is that after the Shiv Sena supporters, which is the Uddhav Sena supporters, attacked the offices of the rebels of Shiv Sena from the Shinde faction, 15 MLAs who are holed up at the Radisson Blu in Guwahati have received Y+ security cover. The rebels have refused to return to Mumbai. Deputy Speaker of Maharashtra Assembly issued show cause notices to 16 Sena MLAs for not attending the meeting called upon by Sena Party Whip Sunil Prabhu. The Deputy Speaker also asked Shinde to be present, to present his case by tomorrow. Big breaking story on your screens right now. Why no security cover for Eknath Shinde? That is a big question. But Y+ security coming in for 15 MLAs in Guwahati who are at the moment at that resort. If I may request the producers to get us Pallavi Saha or any other reporter from Guwahati to bring us up to speed with the very latest development. Let's patch a battery of reporters on this broadcast right now. Fast-moving development. This as the Eknath Shinde camp meeting begins in Guwahati. That is what sources have indicated. And security has been deployed outside rebel MLA Sada Savarkar's residence in Mumbai as well. At the same time, you've got Shiv Sena supporters protesting at Jantar Mantar in Delhi too. And Uddhav Sena supporters have attacked the offices of Sena rebels. 15 MLAs in Guwahati now have a Y+ security cover. Big breaking story on your screens right now. And what we are also picking up from sources is that Eknath Shinde camp meeting has begun in Guwahati. But big question arising on if 15 rebel MLAs are getting Y+ security from the center. Why is it that Eknath Shinde, who's heading this entire rebellion, he's not provided Y+ security? We'll get to the bottom of this, I promise you. We'll find out the reason why this is happening. And hence, I'm requesting our producers to get us our reporters who've got all the very latest details. All these details, remember, are coming from our reporters on ground, who from their highly placed sources. All this information is trickling in. The central government providing Y+ category Armed Central Reserve Police Force, or the CRPF security cover to 15 rebel Shiv Sena MLA. But no security at the moment, no security cover for Eknath Shinde, who is the leader of this rebellion in the first place. The Uddhav Sena versus Shinde Sena fight has hit the streets as the supporters took out protest rallies in various parts of Maharashtra. Following the threats of violence and of vandalism against rebel MLAs on Saturday, the supporters of both Uddhav and Shinde took out massive rallies today. Sena workers also held bike rally from Samna office in Mumbai, raising anti-Shinde slogans outside. Shiv Sena's Delhi unit is taking out a protest march in Jantar Mantar in Delhi in support of Sena chief Uddhav Thackeray. Shinde supporters, on the other hand, have gathered outside Eknath Shinde's Thane residence in a show of support. There is also heavy police security forces deployed at the offices of Eknath Shinde, his son MP Shrikant Shinde, his offices in Kalyan and in Ulhasnagar. Both Shrikant Shinde's office was vandalized just in front of the police station in Ulhasnagar. Supporters of rebel Sena MLA Abdul Sattar gathered outside his office at Silod constituency in Aurangabad district. All the latest ground reports on your screens, visuals coming in from all across the length and breadth of Maharashtra, and even from the protest that is taking place in Delhi at Jantar Mantar. This Uddhav Sena versus Eknath Sena tussle has turned ugly. Violence has broken out as angry Shiv Sena workers have taken to the streets. Angry Sainiks vandalized rebel MLA's offices, burnt effigies as well. Let's show you the complete report. Take a look.
Violence, vandalism, arson, and a full-blown street fight. As the political scenario in Maharashtra escalates, Uddhav Sena's fury against rebel MLAs is now in full force. For Shiv Senics, all the rebel MLAs are traitors who've ditched Bala Sahib's legacy and his family in a very difficult time. And the Shiv Senics are on the rampage. And it's Eknath Shinde who's in the line of fire. Eknath Shinde's son, Member of Parliament Shrikant Shinde's office was vandalized by Shiv Sena.